Right now, at the corner of my house here in Okinawa, rain is falling, one of the short, heavy showers that pass over our island most afternoons in this season. And as I speak, water is running off my roof, down a gutter, through a simple screen, and into a row of barrels standing against my wall. By the time this shower passes, 20 minutes, no more, those barrels will have gained well over 100 gallons of clean, soft, free water. Water for my vegetable garden through the dry weeks. Water for my chickens. Water for washing tools. For the compost. For the young fruit trees. My neighbors' hoses run from the tap, and their water meters spin, and their bills climb all summer long. Mine does not. My garden has not drunk a drop of paid city water in 30 years. The whole system on my wall cost me less than $100 to build, most of it long ago, and I built it in a weekend with my own 2 hands. In a few minutes, I am going to show you exactly how to build one, and more importantly, the one detail that decides whether it gives you sweet, clean water or a barrel of stinking soup. My name is Kenji Takara. I am 81 years old, and I have lived my whole life on the island of Okinawa in the south of Japan. And I must tell you something about my island that most people do not know. For all our rain, Okinawa has always been a thirsty place. The rain comes hard, and it runs away fast over our thin soil and coral rock. And in the old days, before the pipes and the reservoirs, a dry month meant hardship. So my people learned generations ago to catch the rain when it fell. Every roof a harvester, every house with its jars and tanks, every drop guarded like the treasure it is. My grandfather kept great clay jars and later wooden tanks at the corners of the house, and the water they gathered carried our garden, our animals, and sometimes our own washing through every dry spell of my childhood. Where water is precious, wasting it is unthinkable. That is mottainai, and there is no purer example of it than watching 1,000 gallons of clean sky water run off your own roof, down the drain, and away to the sea, while you pay the water company to send you the very same thing through a pipe. But before I show you how to catch it, I must tell you the part that should make you a little angry. Your roof is a harvester already. Every roof is. A modest American roof in a place with ordinary rainfall sheds tens of thousands of gallons of water in a year. For nothing. It falls, it runs down the downspout, and it is gone. And meanwhile, the water company charges you for every gallon you sprinkle on your tomatoes, and in most places charges you a second time. The sewer fee, calculated on the same gallons, even though the water you put on your garden never touches the sewer at all. In summer, when your garden drinks the most, your bill is highest. Watering a good vegetable garden through a dry season can cost hundreds of dollars of metered water. And the garden centers, for their part, will happily sell you a molded plastic rain barrel, a thin, pretty thing, 50 gallons, for $120, $150, even $200. A price so foolish for what it is that most people look at it, laugh, and give up on the whole idea. That suits everyone fine. The water company keeps its customer. The store sells its overpriced barrel to the few who don't do the arithmetic, and the rain, the free, soft, perfect rain, keeps running down the drain. What none of them will tell you is that the working heart of a rain harvesting system is a used food barrel that costs $10 or $20 and an afternoon of your time. Quick word before I begin, and I won't bring it up again. Everything I share here, there's far more of it than fits in one video. So I gathered it all into one book, the Takara Method. And right now I'm keeping it at a special price, lower than it'll normally be. The link's in the description, or point your phone at the code on screen. That's all. Now let me show you today's. Now here is where almost everyone goes wrong. And if you do not understand this one thing, your barrel will become a green, stinking, mosquito-breeding soup by midsummer, and you will empty it in disgust and tell your friends that rain barrels do not work. So listen closely. Most people think catching rain is simple. Put a barrel under the downspout. Done. And for the first week, it is. But an open or carelessly built barrel catches more than rain. It catches leaves and roof grit, which rot in the water. It catches light, and light grows green algae. And it welcomes mosquitoes, who will find a way into any opening larger than a grain of rice and turn your barrel into a nursery for 10,000 biting insects. Dirt, light, and mosquitoes, those are the three enemies, and every failed rain barrel in the world fell to one of them. The old Japanese systems, and every good system since, are built on defeating all three from the first day. The water is screened before it enters. The barrel is sealed and dark so nothing lives in it, and every opening is covered with fine mesh so nothing flies in. Get those three right, and the water in your barrel stays sweet and clear for months. Get one wrong, and you have soup. And there is one more piece of understanding that the old builders knew, so simple and so ignored. The first water off a roof is not the water you want. Between rains, a roof gathers dust, bird droppings, pollen, fallen leaves. The first minutes of a shower wash all of that down the gutter. The old farmers of my island always let the first flow pass. They called it letting the roof rinse its face, and only then did the clean water go to the jars. The modern version of this wisdom is a simple fitting called a first flush diverter, and you can build one yourself from a length of pipe for a few dollars. It is the single difference between water with a layer of sludge at the bottom of your barrel and water clean enough to store all season. So the system has 4 parts, and only 4. The roof and gutter you already own, the screen and first flush that clean the water, the barrels that store it, and the tap that gives it back to you. Let me take you through building each one, in order, starting with the most important purchase of the whole project, the barrel itself, and where to find it, for 1/10 of the garden center price. The barrel you want is called a food-grade barrel, a 55-gallon drum of thick blue or white plastic that once carried food or drink, juice concentrate, pickles, soy sauce, olives, syrup. Industry uses them once and sells them off by the thousand. Look for them at farm supply stores, car washes, bottling plants, food factories, or the classified listings, and you will find them for $10 to $25 a piece. Thick, sun-resistant, made to hold liquids safely for years. That phrase, food grade, is the one rule I will not let you bend. A barrel that carried chemicals, oil, or anything industrial is never safe for garden water, no matter how well you wash it, for the plastic itself drinks in what it once held. Food grade, always. Give it a good scrub with water and a little vinegar, and it is ready for a decade of service. This $10 drum is the very same thing as the $150 molded barrel at the garden center. The same plastic, the same capacity, the same job. The only difference is the shape and the price. My grandfather's water jars were clay and cost him nothing but the hauling. The modern blue drum is the same wisdom for the price of a meal. Now let me show you how to turn that drum into a proper harvester, step by step, with a weekend's work and simple tools: a drill, a saw for plastic pipe, a wrench. First, the stand. This is the step that everyone skips and everyone regrets. Water does not push itself. It flows by gravity, and gravity needs height. A barrel sitting on the ground gives you a dribble from the tap and leaves you unable to fit a watering can under it. So before anything else, build your barrel a firm, raised stand. Cinder blocks are the classic answer, 2 or 3 courses high, laid flat and level on tamped ground, or build a stout, low platform of timber, $15 of blocks perhaps. And take this seriously, for the strength matters more than you think. A full 55-gallon barrel weighs over 450 pounds, the weight of 2 grown men. It must stand on something solid, level, and honest, or one day it will lean and come down. Build the stand as if your grandchild will one day climb on it, because I promise you, one day a grandchild will. Second, the tap. Near the bottom of the barrel, a few inches up from the base, leave a little space below for sediment to settle out of reach. You drill a hole and fit a simple tap. The fitting is called a bulkhead fitting, or you may use a threaded spigot bedded in washers and sealant. Drill the hole snug, thread the tap in, a rubber washer inside and out, tighten, done. $5 to $10 of hardware. Fit a tap with a standard hose thread, and your rain barrel will fill watering cans, feed a garden hose, or drive a drip line, whichever you please. Third, the lid and the inlet. This is where we defeat the 3 enemies. Cut a hole in the barrel's top where the downspout will enter, and cover that hole, permanently and tightly, with fine metal mesh. Window screen mesh, a couple of dollars, stretched and fastened so that not one mosquito can pass. That screen also catches any leaf or grit the gutter sends down. Everywhere else, the barrel stays sealed and dark. The solid drum walls keep out the light, and no light means no green algae, ever. Every opening screened, everything else closed. Do this on day 1, and your water stays sweet all season. Fourth, the overflow. The piece beginners forget until the first big storm teaches them. A heavy rain will fill your barrel in an hour, and the water keeps coming. Without a planned exit, it boils out of the top, soaks the ground at the barrel's base, undermines your stand, and can even seep toward the house wall. So near the very top of the barrel fit a second outlet, a short length of pipe or hose, screened like everything else, that carries the surplus safely away from the foundation, out to a flower bed, a tree, a soak-away pit a few steps off. The overflow is also your invitation to grow. Point it into a second barrel, and when the first fills, the second begins, and a third after that. This is how a single drum becomes a battery of them, linked in a quiet row along the wall, the way my tanks stand. 2 barrels store 110 gallons, 4 store 220. In most climates, a row of 4, refilled by every rain, will carry a serious vegetable garden through the dry spells with never a drop from the meter. Fifth, the first flush diverter, the roof rinsing its face. You can buy the fitting ready-made for $20 or $30. But the homemade version is a length of ordinary vertical pipe on the downspout, before the barrel inlet, with a cap or cleanout at its bottom. The first water off the roof, the dirty water, fills that standing pipe first. A simple ball or float rises and seals it when full, or in the simplest version, the pipe just fills and stands, and only then does the flow pass on, clean, to the barrel. After the rain, you open the little cap at the bottom. The dirty water drains out, and the trap is empty and ready for next time. $10 of pipe, an hour of fitting, and it is the difference between clear water and sludge. Empty it after each rain. It becomes a habit, like closing the gate. So add it up, honestly. A food-grade barrel, $15. Blocks for the stand, $15. Tap and fittings, $10. Mesh, pipe, and the first flush, $15 or $20. Under $75 for a complete, well-built, one-barrel system. And each barrel you add later costs only the drum and a connector. Against that, set the metered water. A garden that drinks a few hundred gallons a week through a dry summer. At combined water and sewer rates, costs real money. For many families, $20, $30, $40 a month in the watering season, hundreds across the years. The system pays for itself in its first summer or two, and then it simply keeps giving, year after year, rain after rain, for decades. My barrels have long ago repaid me 100 times over. Now, the layers most people overlook, the small wisdoms that make the difference between owning some barrels and truly harvesting water. First, use the soft water where it does the most good. Rainwater is soft. It carries none of the lime and minerals of hard tap water, and no treatment chemicals, and plants visibly prefer it. Seedlings especially, and potted plants, which suffer most from the salts that build up in pot soil from years of hard tap water. My wife will water her seed trays with nothing else. Save your sweetest water for your youngest plants. Second, mind the mosquitoes beyond the screen. If you have built well, they cannot enter. But belts and braces, as they say. And here I will remind those of you who watched my mosquito video, a dunk of BTI, the harmless bacterium, dropped in the barrel now and then, guarantees that nothing hatches, even if a screen tears unseen. It is safe for the garden, the birds, the pets, and costs pennies. And check your screens each spring as you check your fences. Third, think before winter. Water swells when it freezes, and a barrel left brimful through a hard freeze can split. In cold country, before the deep frost, drain your barrels down, open the taps, and let them stand empty or nearly so until spring. 10 minutes in November saves the barrel. In mild country, ignore this and water your winter greens instead. Fourth, and check this before you build, for I will always tell you the truth. In most places, catching the rain from your own roof for your own garden is perfectly legal and even encouraged, with some towns handing out barrels or paying rebates. But a few places have their own rules about rainwater collection, old water rights laws, and local codes. One telephone call to your local office, or 10 minutes of reading, will tell you where you stand. Know your ground before you build on it. That, too, is old wisdom. Let me tell you now about the jars, for they are where all of this began for me. Behind my grandfather's house stood 3 great clay jars, each taller than I was as a boy, glazed dark, standing on stone slabs under the eaves where the bamboo gutters fed them. They were older than my grandfather. His own father had set them there, and their insides were cool and dark, and the water in them tasted, I swear to you, sweeter than any water since. In the dry months, those jars were the garden's life, and ours. My grandmother drew from them each morning with a long-handled dipper, and she never, not once in all the years I watched her, let the dipper touch the ground, nor left the lid ajar, nor wasted a cupful. When I was small and careless, I once tipped a half-full bucket out onto the stones to watch it splash, as children do. She did not scold me loudly. She took my hand, walked me to the jars, and had me look down into the dark water. "This," she said, "is the rain from many days, saved for the day it does not rain. You have just poured away a morning of the sky's work. I have never forgotten it. 60 years of pipes and taps have not washed that lesson out of me. Water is not a thing that comes from a company. It is a thing that comes from the sky, and it is given, and what is given freely and wasted carelessly is the very heart of what mottainai forbids. And this is the larger truth beneath the barrels, the reason I want you to build this and not merely nod along. Every month you pay for water. The price does not go down. It never has. You depend, for the life of your garden and some part of the life of your household, on a pipe you do not control, at a price you do not set, from a company that answers to no promise you can hold. And all the while the sky delivers to your own roof, free, thousands of gallons of the finest soft water there is, and it runs away down the drain because no one ever showed you the $10 barrel and the afternoon's work that would catch it. To catch it is to take back a piece of your independence. In a dry summer, when the town asks everyone to stop watering and the neighbors' gardens brown and wilt, yours drinks from the wall of quiet barrels and grows on. When the bill rises, your garden does not feel it. That is not a small thing. That is a family that has arranged, by its own hands, to need the world a little less. It is the same dignity in every old skill I teach here. The coop that cleans itself, the post that outlives its builder, the soil that grows richer every year, and the roof that waters the garden. Piece by piece, skill by skill, you become the kind of household that the old world built everywhere and the new world forgot. One that catches what falls, keeps what it catches, and wastes nothing at all. So tell me, in the comments below, where in this world do you live, and how does the rain come to you? In gentle gray weeks, or in hard storms with long thirst between? Tell me your place, your roof, and your garden, and whether the water there is dear. I read every message that comes to me, and I would dearly love to know who among you sets a barrel under the downspout this very season, and watches the first rain fill it, and feels what my grandmother felt at the jars, the sky's work saved. And the next time we sit together, I will show you what the old farmers of my island did beneath the soil itself, a way of burying rough wood and brush in the bottom of a garden bed, in a mound that drinks the rain like a sponge and then waters the plants above it from below, through weeks of drought, with no barrel, no pipe, and no hand on a hose. It is the reason some gardens on my island grew green through dry spells that browned every field around them, and the method is older than any name it now carries. Until then, waste nothing, catch what the sky gives, and remember always that the people who lived closest to the earth understood things that we, with all our pipes and all our meters, are only now beginning to remember once again.